Let's dive into a story that sounds almost too wild to be true. Imagine a pope, yes, a pope, who wrote some of the spiciest love poems you could think of before taking the holy mantle. No, this isn't a modern day scandal. We're traveling back to the 15th century to the life of Pope Pius II, or as he was known before he became pope, Enea Silvio Piccolomini. Piccolomini wasn't always destined for the Vatican. In his early days, he was more about sonnets than sermons, and his works, well, they were steamy enough to make even a modern reader blush. This guy did everything from passionate poetry to a page-turner of a love story. So, what's the deal with a future pope penning love poems that would make your heart race? And how does a man go from writing about forbidden romance to leading the Catholic Church? That's exactly what we're going to explore today. We'll look at Piccolomini's fascinating journey, his captivating works, and how all this fits into the colorful tapestry of the Renaissance. It's a tale of love, literature, and a life that turned from the secular to the sacred. Get ready to have your mind blown by the story of Pope Pius II, the Pope with a penchant for passionate poetry. Let's get started. Let's set the stage by zooming in on the early life of the man who would become Pope Pius II. Born in the scenic hills of Siena, Italy in 1405, Enea Silvio Piccolomini started off just like any other kid in the Renaissance. But, oh, did he have a future ahead of him? Growing up in the Renaissance meant being surrounded by some of the most exciting cultural changes the world has ever seen. Art, literature, and science were booming, and young Piccolomini, he was right in the heart of it. His education wasn't your run-of-the-mill sort. It was a time when learning wasn't just about reading and writing. It was about exploring the vast ocean of human knowledge and creativity. And Piccolomini dove right in. He soaked up everything from literature to law, developing a keen mind that would later shape his writings. And before he donned the papal robes, Piccolomini had a whole other life. Think of a young, ambitious scholar fueled by the excitement of the Renaissance, writing and engaging in the world of words and ideas. He wasn't just any writer. He had a knack for capturing the essence of love and romance in his poetry. Yes, our future pope was quite the literary figure, penning poems that talked about love in a way that was, let's say, quite daring for his time. His writings were more about love's fiery passions than the serene reflections you might expect from a future religious leader. For the steamy verse, Piccolomini was even crowned Poet Laureate by Frederick III. And this part of his life gives us a glimpse into a world where religious figures were not just confined to the spiritual realm, but were active and vibrant participants in their time's cultural and intellectual life. Piccolomini's early career is a fascinating window into his complex character and the richness of the Renaissance era. But how does a man go from writing love poems to leading one of the most significant religious institutions in the world? Stick around as we uncover more about this extraordinary journey. Now, let's turn the pages back to the Renaissance and get the scoop on one of the hottest trends: erotic poetry. Yep, you heard that right. And while we often picture the Renaissance as a time of grand paintings and sculptures, it was also when literature got a little steamy. This era was like a giant cultural reboot. People were rediscovering the classics, think ancient Greece and Rome, and these old school ideas were getting a fresh new twist. And who were the rock stars of these times? The humanists. They were about exploring human nature in all its glory, including the romantic and the risque. Piccolomini and his fellow Renaissance writers were digging into texts from the likes of Plato, Ovid, and other ancient bigwigs. These works were not shy about love and desire. In fact, they celebrated it. So our Renaissance folks thought, hey, why not do the same? The revival wasn't just about copying what the ancients did. It was about taking their ideas and making something new that spoke to the people of the Renaissance. And boy, did it speak volumes. Erotic poetry became the in thing, with writers weaving tales of love, longing, and passion that resonated with their audiences. And this is where our man Piccolomini comes in. He was riding this wave of erotic literature, using his pen to explore the complexities of love in a way that was both daring and deeply human. One of his works is a blockbuster of its time, The Tale of Two Lovers. Now, this isn't your everyday love story. It's a roller coaster of passion, secret rendezvous, and let's not forget it was penned by a future pope. It was also one of the first examples of an epistolary novel, or one chiefly comprised of letters. The story is set in beautiful Siena and spins the tale of Euryalus and Lucretia. He's a dashing courtier. She's a noble woman. Their eyes meet and bam! It's love at first sight. But there's a catch. She's married. And what follows is a tale of their secret love affair, filled with stolen moments and love letters. It also leads to a tragic end when Lucretia's husband, Absalom, discovers their affair and takes Euryalus' life. But it's not just about the plot. The way Piccolomini tells this story is something else. He captures the thrill, the agony, and the ecstasy of love. It's all about the highs and lows of forbidden romance, something the author knew a bit about with the son born out of wedlock. But let's talk about literary style. The Tale of Two Lovers is a masterpiece of Renaissance writing. It's vivid, expressive, and portrays beautiful and painfully real love. It also explores themes of forbidden love, secrecy and deception, emotion versus duty, and tragic love. This book wasn't just a hit because it was a juicy story. It reflected the Renaissance's new way of thinking about love and emotions. It showed love as a powerful, all-consuming force, a far cry from the time's more reserved and traditional views. And through The Tale of Two Lovers, Piccolomini gives us a window into the soul of the Renaissance, where love, beauty, and human emotions were being reimagined in bold and exciting ways. Now let's get into the heart of Piccolomini's words. His words aren't just lines on a page, they're a dance of language, imagery, and themes that come alive and speak directly to the heart. Take this sizzling line from The Tale of Two Lovers. White breast, sweet tongue, kind eyes, and ready wit, you marble limbs full of vigor, when shall I see you again? When again shall I bite those coral lips or feel again that tremulous tongue murmuring in my mouth or ever handle those breasts? That may seem tame today, but it was risque for its time. This isn't your average everyday love writing. It's bold, it's expressive, and it's unapologetically passionate for a Renaissance reader. Piccolomini had a knack for painting pictures with words. His descriptions of longing, desire, and the intensity of love are so colorful that they almost jump off the page. He captures the essence of romance in a way that's both beautiful and, dare we say, quite daring. And the characters were quite robust. But how did the world react to these steamy tales in the Renaissance? Well, let's say they were a hit. People were captivated by his honest and raw portrayal of love and desire. It was like he was voicing what everyone was feeling, but too shy to say out loud. Piccolomini's works were like a splash of bold color in the grand tapestry of Renaissance literature, and they stood out for their emotional depth and willingness to explore complexities of the human heart. His poetry and verse wasn't just about love. It celebrated life, passion, and the human experience. But remember, this was a time of great change. Ideas about love, art, and even religion were evolving. Piccolomini's writing captured the spirit of transformation and resonated with a generation eager to explore and express their deepest emotions. Now, let's fast forward to one of our tale's most surprising twists. Imagine the author of spicy love poems becoming the head of the Catholic Church. That's exactly what happened to Enea Silvio Piccolomini, and let's say it raised quite a few eyebrows. Piccolomini's Ascent to Pope Pius II is a story from two worlds. He swapped his poet's pen for the papal crown, but this didn't go unnoticed or unchallenged. Some saw the switch as a bit, well, hypocritical. From crafting verses about earthly passions to preaching piety and religious virtues, that's quite a leap. Critics were quick to point out this stark contrast. How could someone who once celebrated romantic and physical love in such vivid detail become a moral and spiritual leader? The whispers of hypocrisy swirled around him, creating a cloud of controversy. But here's where it gets interesting. Piccolomini didn't ignore these criticisms. Instead, as Pope Pius II, he distanced himself from his earlier works. He even publicly regretted his former writings, aligning himself fully with the church's teachings. This about-face was a bold move. It showed a man wrestling with his past and the expectations of his new role. Some saw this as a sincere change of heart, while others remained skeptical, viewing it as a convenient transformation to suit his elevated position. And it may seem like this change was just part of a bid for power, but there is some evidence that there was a genuine change of heart, so to speak. In 1444, once he had lost all his hair and perhaps allure to the opposite sex, he wrote these words to a friend. I know what you will say, why, how straight-laced Aeneas is. Now he writes to me of chastity from Vienna, but in Neustadt bespoke otherwise. I don't deny it, dearest John, but time slips away day by day. We're older. The day of our death draws near, and now we must consider not how to live, but how to die. For me, John, I have sinned enough and too much. Now I know myself, and may it not be too late. For now I'm 40, and the day of salvation, the time for repentance, is at hand. So what can we take away from the story of a love poet turned pope, a man caught between passion and piety? Piccolomini's life is like a tale of two worlds. On one side, we have the passionate poet who penned words of love and desire that could set your heart ablaze. And on the other, we have Pope Pius II, the spiritual leader of the Catholic Church. It's a duality that's as fascinating as it is perplexing. Consider this. In her eyes, I see the reflection of 1,000 stars, and in her touch, I feel the warmth of 1,000 suns. These words capture the essence of Piccolomini's earlier life, a world of fiery romance and unrestrained emotion. Now here's what makes this story truly captivating. It's not just about one man's transformation. It's a window into the Renaissance. This period was a time of immense change where old ideas collided with new ones, and the exploration of human emotions was celebrated. Piccolomini's journey reflects the Renaissance's spirit of exploration, transformation, and complexity. It shows us that people can wear many hats in their lifetime, and change is part of our ever-evolving story. So what's the big takeaway? Well, it's a reminder that history is never black and white. People just like Piccolomini are multifaceted. They can evolve, adapt, and surprise us with their different life roles. And as our journey through the life of Pope Pius II ends, it's time to take a step back and reflect on the incredible complexities of historical figures like him. They remind us that the human story is rich with passion, transformation, and evolution. From the fiery love poet to the spiritual leader of the Catholic Church, Piccolomini's life is a testament to the ever-changing nature of our own narratives. It's a story that challenges us to see beyond the surface and embrace people's intricate nature throughout history. And what about the Renaissance, that vibrant period in history? It's a reminder that cultural narratives are as diverse and ever-evolving. And it's a time when old ideas met new ones, when art, literature, and love were explored in ways that continue to inspire us today. As we bid adieu to Pope Pius II, I invite you to keep exploring the captivating stories of history. The past is full of tales waiting to be uncovered, and every figure from history has a unique narrative to share. But before we go, here's a little call to action. If you enjoyed this journey through time, don't forget to hit that like button, share with fellow literature and history enthusiasts, and hit that subscribe button for more stories from the annals of history and literature. Looking for more adventures? Check out this video. And thank you for joining us on this incredible ride. And until next time, keep exploring, learning, and celebrating the richness of our past.